Hello and welcome to Empire of Wargames. My name is Seaplash, and in today's video we are going to be talking about the Adepta Sororitas 2024 Battleforce, and we are going to go over the points, upgrades, and so on. If you enjoyed the content, consider leaving a thumbs up and subscribing, as well as checking the links down in the description below. Okay, so first things first, we've gotten a points update over the last couple of days, and it has not impacted this particular Battleforce at all. Other battle forces I've went over, and the impact is not big enough where I would add or deduct a point, because just, 20 or 30 points were added. So you can ignore that more or less. The only important thing is that, these points that you see, if you go through the playlist, are not super accurate anymore, because, a few units have gotten a little bit cheaper, a little bit more expensive. So keep that in mind whenever you, look at other Battleforce reviews and so on. With this one, you can see the points in the background. As I said, they don't impact us at all. Battle Scribe and New Recruit have not updated the points yet. That's basically it. And with that, let's summarize this particular Battleforce, the Penitent Crusader host. In this box, you're getting 25 miniatures, 2 rhinos, which is kind of impressive when just thinking about the sheer cost of an Adepta Sororitas rhino, which is way higher than regular rhinos. And then you're getting a lot of other infantry stuff. Overall, the first reception for this particular box was probably the worst out of all the battle forces, and that is for good reason. As I summarized in my own first impressions video, this box strikes me as a it makes sense box, but it's super boring and uninteresting, especially to new players. It is basically a box made for someone who only has the new Combat Patrol, not even the old one, because the old one already has a rhino, or someone who has Adepta Sororitas and lots of them, but for some reason doesn't have any rhinos. Those are the only two kind of player types that I can think of outside of just completely new players that can make use out of this particular box. So it is a very weird setup, and in my opinion, if you already own at least one rhino, I think this box loses all of its appeal, because in my experience playing Adepta Sororitas, you are not going to need 3 or 4 or 5 rhinos. That is just my personal experience. The most I've seen on the table is actually 2. In most 2000 points lists, at least when they were kind of useful and when they were transporting a unit that was really strong. But most of the times you don't even see a rhino in an Adepta Sororitas list. So having 2 of them when you're starting out is definitely not a bad thing. But consider that this box is very much limited when it comes to its appeal as far as veterans go. And for new players, this box just doesn't seem exciting enough. Now, with the summary out of the way, let's talk about the list itself. You're getting 680 points. This list was not impacted by the recent points changes. And what you have here in this particular list is a Ministorm Priest. They are, for some reason, trying to put this guy into every box ever since they got a separate release. Not sure what's up with that, but the model itself is pretty decent. Not a very old model at all, but you could get it in Blackstone Fortress, as far as I remember. You could get it in Lair of the Beast. You could get it for way cheaper than you can get it separately, and now this particular model inflates the price of this particular box a little bit. It's not a horrible model. It's, as I said, recent, looks good, but just not very exciting. Arco-Flagellants, you already get in the Combat Patrol. No clue what the idea here was. We're going to talk about that once we are in the upgrade section of the video, but man, it just doesn't make any sense to have Arco-Flagellants in this box. Just, I don't know. Should have been Battle Sisters. Then we have 10 Repentia. The Repentia make a lot of sense in this particular box. You can put them in a rhino and actually make sure that they survive a turn or 2 and even arrive at their target or wherever they need to be. And that is something that, where I see the synergy in this particular box. Then we are getting to Penitent Engines. You can also build them as modifiers as always. I think these are really cool, a lot of fun to paint and assemble. And having them is pretty decent. They serve a lot of roles. They can be threats, they can be distractions, they hit pretty hard for what they are, and I'm a big fan of these personally, so I'm not going to criticize them. And then you have your 2 rhinos, which in my opinion, the difference between a rhino and an emulator, as far as the price goes, real life price, is not far enough where they couldn't have diversified the list a little bit and added a rhino and an emulator maybe, or even better, a rhino and a castigator. That would have been way better. But here we are with 2 rhinos, and there's nothing we can do about it. Now, while the list isn't too exciting, let's take a look at the savings. Savings overall are pretty decent, actually. Depending on region, you're saving 35%, sometimes a little bit less. But overall, I would say that you're pretty much above average at all times. And it is something that I'm definitely going to denote as a positive for this particular box. getting, you know, 2 rhinos discounted, getting penitent engines discounted, and so on is definitely not bad. So if you're one of those few people who just have the base Combat Patrol or who have Adepta Sororitas and you're severely lacking any kind of transports like emulators or rhinos, this box could be for you. And if it is, it's not a bad purchase. But overall, this is not going to save this box from a bad rating or anything. I'm going to talk about that at the end of the video, but I think that this is the only clear positive this box is going for it. Next up, let's take a look at upgrades. So first, I wanted to take a look at the base list once again, simply because I wanted to talk about what you can do with it. So generally speaking, as far as base lists go, you are not going to be able to play a 750 points game with this, obviously, but you can definitely play some smaller games, introductory games, and, you know, get the hang of Warhammer 40K if you wanted to with this box. So if you wanted to buy this as a gift for someone, it is definitely a choice. You know, 2 rhinos and so on, it's still weird, especially if you want to give this to someone who's new to 40K and so on, but it's not horrible or anything. But what can we do with this particular list to make it a little bit more exciting and to make it more playable, especially at 750 or 1000 points? We add a Combat Patrol. At least that's what GW advertised themselves. So let's take a look at the list. We are sitting at 1070 points. And as far as this particular list goes, you are getting a ton of infantry and you could technically play it at 1000 points. The only thing you need to kind of remove is a penitent engine or the Celestial Sacrosancts or whatever you want basically outside of the characters, and you're going to be good to go at sub 1000 points. Is this list a lot of fun to play? Does it work at 1000 points? Because I'm talking about this specifically because if you don't know, GW themselves during the presentation of these particular battle forces said that they've paid attention specifically to make sure that the Combat Patrol and the Battle Force synergize in some way. And what we've gotten here are 20 Arcoflagellants at this point, which I think is just stupid. They could have added any other infantry unit or anything else into the battle force, and they decided to go for more Arcoflagellants, which tells me that they don't sell well and that they want to get rid of them. That is what that tells me. And it is a weird choice. And you don't have any anti-tank firepower outside of maybe the penitent engines, but even they are not going to be running around with strength 12 weapons. So I'm not sure what the idea here was. The general list itself is not horrible or anything. You're not drowning in more rhinos as you would with the old Combat Patrol, which we are going to talk about in a second. But overall, the synergies here and the combination between the Combat Patrol and the Battle Force just don't strike me as very exciting or cool. It's just not horrible, I guess, and that is a very low bar to pass. Now for the old Combat Patrol Adepta Sororitas, which is out of print obviously, I didn't even prepare a list because as you can see on the box art, you're getting another rhino, and that makes this box personally obsolete in combination with this particular battle force. It wouldn't make any sense to combine the two in my book, and that's basically that. Now another popular upgrade path usually is to buy a battle force twice if it's worth it, if there are no huge characters that are epic heroes, or if there are no kind of redundant units that you don't want multiple times. Sadly, that's exactly what we have in this box, and you don't want 4 rhinos. You actually really don't, unless you're playing 4000 points games, at which point okay, but for the average player, buying this box twice doesn't make any sense. But there is a way to get 2 battle forces and make it make sense. During summer this year, we got an Adepta Sororitas Battleforce that for the first time introduced the Canoness with Jump Pack. This battle force was highly unpopular because it was weird. It included the Canoness with Jump Pack, it included 15 Seraphim or Sephirim, and an emulator. That's it. This list was very unpopular because it was so heavily skewed towards just one particular unit type that no one wanted to buy it. But if you can get it at a discount, which I know you can in Europe, I'm not sure about the US, then combining the two, as you can see with this particular list, is definitely not horrible or anything. You are still lacking anti-tank firepower, but the combination between the two is fine as it is. Now, no matter which combination you go for, no matter what you do as far as upgrades go with this particular battle force, the one unit I strongly recommend going for at some point is a Castigator or any kind of dedicated anti-tank firepower that you can get out of the Adepta Sororitas if your plan is to go beyond 1000 points. Because at that point, no matter what you're going to do, your lists are going to definitely lack that anti-tank firepower. And I think a Castigator would be the perfect way to kind of add that into your list. And with that, what are my final thoughts on this box? I think that this box is incredibly weird. As I said, the one thing that strikes me as the weirdest thing is that we got Arc of Flagellants, despite GW advertising these boxes to be great in combination with combat patrols. And having 20 of them, I don't know, it's not horrible, definitely, but Arc of Flagellants are definitely not the reason why you're playing Adepta Sororitas. You see them as a kind of bonus unit, that cannon fodder basically, and you want Battle Sisters in your army, and not adding any Battle Sisters to a Battle Sisters Battleforce strikes me as incredibly weird. So I would have liked to see the Arc of Flagellants replaced with something else entirely, either another infantry unit, because we have a ton of them in the Adepta Sororitas, or maybe another vehicle or something else, because as it stands, just not exciting. 2 rhinos, definitely also a choice. Not too excited about them either. As I said, would have really liked to have one of them be an emulator or a castigator or something else. Sadly, we didn't get that, and that's that. The rest is fine. The character choice is a little bit weird considering how many cool characters we have in the Adepta Sororitas that are actually sisters. Instead, we get a boring priest. I don't know. Also a choice that just strikes me as weird, but that's that. The Repentia are cool as they are. No criticism here. Penitent Engine or Mortifier is also awesome. No criticism here. So basically, the right half of this entire box, the Rhinos, Dark Flagellants, and the Priest, strike me as incredibly weird. And I'm personally not a big fan of this box at all. For new players, it can make sense. You know, you don't have anything, having a few Rhinos and getting them out of the way, especially discounted, is not a bad thing. For veterans, as I said, this box is only interesting for you if you don't own a single Rhino, or if you only have, for example, the new combat patrol, and that's that. For everyone else, I wouldn't recommend buying this. So overall, I'm probably going to give this box a 3 out of 10. I think this is by far the weakest box that we've gotten this year for Warhammer 40k as far as battle forces go. And yeah, I'm going to leave you guys with that. If you have your own opinions, your own ratings, your own thoughts, if I've missed anything, definitely drop it down in the comments below, and we'll talk about these kinds of things there. With that, I hope you are going to tune in to the Age of Sigmar Battleforce reviews that are going to come up over the next couple of days. And yeah, I hope to see you there. Thank you so much for listening. Take care.